What's up, everyone? My name is Candace Smith, and this is Phatabulous Magazine Unfiltered. I am so excited to be back with another exciting, great episode with the Queens Connect Court. What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for joining. And I want to go around real quick and introduce the ladies. Yes. So I want to introduce Camille Rivers, who is the editor-in-chief of Phatabulous Magazine. She's also a plus-size model doing big things in the industry. Welcome, Camille Rivers. How are
Hey,
you?
good morning. Hey.
So next, I want to introduce the fashion and travel coordinator for Phatabulous Magazine and the author and publisher of Nika's blog, Manika Johnson. What's up, Manika?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. So also, I want to introduce Shakira McKenzie. She is the owner of Style Your Curves.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yes,
Hello, what's going on?
Yes, and I also want to introduce all the way from sunny California. You see those palm trees and waves in the background. Miss Nadia Keys. Hey, Miss Nadia, how are
Good
you?
morning, you guys. I'm well, thank you.
Yes, and so we do have one other host. Her name is Bree Plush Size Beats. She's a makeup artist. She'll be joining later today. And so thank you, ladies, once again for coming together for another great conversation. I love it. I love the comments that we've been getting. A lot of people have been really enjoying our conversations. So y'all may see a lot more of us and maybe some changes coming up. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into this conversation. So I feel like this is a very, very much needed conversation in our communities, and that is breaking generational curses when it comes to finances. And, I hear a lot about this topic nowadays, but I can say in the past, I have not heard people talk about money on this level. In the past, I heard people talk about, getting a job, saving, at the most retirement, at the most a 401k. But it seems as of late, there is a lot of talk of just having certain types of knowledge about finances and talking to our kids about finances, just having a better relationship, a healthier relationship with money. And so we're here to talk about what are some things that we can do. What are some things we can do with ourselves, with our children, within our communities that will break these generational curses, and what have been some things that have been keeping us held back from making better decisions in money. So I'm going to start with the editor-in-chief of Phatabulous Magazine and the owner of Inner Beauty Styles, Miss Camille Rivers. What do you have to say?
Well, when it comes to generational curses, of course, everybody has those and know what they are. But for me, being a mom of two and my son being the oldest, I'm teaching him now, and I have been teaching him how to save. I've been teaching him how to run a business, being that I'm the owner of my own business. And I've been showing not only him, but my daughter how to save money, not to spend it all at one time, how to learn more about bank accounts and interest rates, and just having those things that they can learn about while they're young.
Beautiful. Yep, I totally agree. Manika, did you want to add into this conversation?
Yes. As far as breaking generational curses, I'm teaching my daughter because I'm a mother of one and, future business owner. And I'm trying to teach her the value of a dollar. I'm trying to teach her how that, you can want all you want, but you need, sometimes a purchase is not always a necessity. It's just a want. And there is a difference between the two. Like, she may need a new pair of shoes. That's more important than going to buy a video game or getting some Robux for her Roblox game. There is a difference in that. And I'm having to teach her, even though she's 11, but I'm trying to get her to understand that money doesn't grow on trees. Mommy doesn't have it like that. That you need to be able to make better with your money, because I personally wasn't taught how to make better choices with your money. I wasn't taught how to, write things down in a checkbook, make sure you balance everything out. Those are types of things that were not taught to me. So I want to break the curse and teach her. So what I did was I got her a debit card and I put money on it. Now she can request, she's able to make a request, because she has on her app on her phone as well, so that she knows how much she has on her card. She knows this. And she knows, yes, I only have $20 on my card. So am I going to go on Amazon and spend that whole $20? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should save it to, to maybe if I go on a trip, or if I go, somewhere to a store, something like that, I may want to give myself something, not spend it all in just in one place. So she knows she can make a request to me all the time saying, I need more money on my debit card. Okay, that's great. But just keep in mind, we may be going to the store later on today, or you also maybe need lunch money on your lunch account. So are you wanting to take the money that you need for your lunch account at school and spend it over here, or something that's frivolous that you're probably not only going to use it twice and just throw it in the corner with everything else? Or do you want lunch for the next 2 weeks? So that's the balance that I'm trying to get her to understand, to break that curse. Because like I said, me personally, I was not taught that. But I want her to know it ain't on the trees. Just because the tree, like Nadia's background, looks fabulous, there's no money on it. There's no money
exactly.
on the. So she needs to, learn. I want her to be able to teach her children and grandchildren and future that you need to be, it's just checks and balances. You need to be able to know, what's a necessity and what's a want. Yeah, mommy may want that Michael Kors or that Louis Vuitton purse, but I'd rather pay my electric bill today. So, I'm gonna, if my options here, go ahead and pay the electric so I can be able to see next week, not have a good handbag on my arm. So I definitely want her to learn that and be able to know what those differences are, because we all need to teach our children exactly about the value of $1.
Yeah, I totally agree. So,
so do I.
Yeah. So, Miss Shakira, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, I do. I talk a lot too, y'all. So I'm gonna try to keep it short. This topic is actually really interesting to me, because I grew up in a military family, right? So we had some form of structure or financial literacy at that point, and for me, what I feel like is missing when I think about our community, let me back up for a second. When I think about our community, I always think about it as kind of two different parts, right? There's the part where I feel like some of us are really into those materialistic things, where others are, we were probably taught some of those, like I would call them basic fundamentals, right? You got to pay your bills, you got to have a decent job, you got to, like you had mentioned earlier, have a 401k, have some form of a savings. But I feel like we really weren't taught the value of some of these things, like not just saving to retire, but also property ownership, or just owning something more than just having money in your bank account. So that's where, for me, I want to teach my son not just the value of $1 and when and where to spend it, but also creating that generational wealth. I feel like for us as Black people, that's one thing that we're missing. It's not just the financial side of it, but how do you create generational wealth to where my son, hopefully his children beyond, can benefit from the changes that I create today. I think that part is really missing in our community, because we always seem to be living for the now, and we don't have the education to really plan for the future. Not that it's not available, right? Because I do think there's plenty of resources, plenty of information out there, but it's almost like that's not what's in the forefront of our mind. It's like, I just need to be able to make it today. I want to make sure I have the home I want today. I want to make sure I have the car I want today. And it's not so much that it has to be, I don't know, that Maserati or anything like that. I don't think that's really where our mindset is, but it's a lot about today versus what am I going to build for the future. So like, I recently purchased a townhouse, big purchase for me. The first, like, kind of like that first thing, I'm like, oh my God. Right. But everybody was like, well, why a townhouse? Why didn't you just go get a house or, that type of stuff? I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know if Florida's going to be my forever home. I really don't know. I'm really a country girl at heart. I want to go retire in the middle of Georgia somewhere where my neighbor is a mile away. But I was like, honestly, when I think about it, a townhouse is something that easily can turn into rental property. Then there goes my residual income. Airbnbs are a big thing now. I can turn into an Airbnb. I'm right here in Tampa. I'm next to a casino. We got the beach, 20 minutes away. Orlando is an hour away. So, for me, it was more about, if I take this piece of property, what can I really get out of it? Also, maybe if I do find a husband one day, knock on wood, I can go and buy me a house. And now when my son graduates school, he may be able to have a place to go and stay in until he figures out his path. So for me, I think in our community, we have to think beyond just, okay, we want to live for today. We want to make sure we're comfortable today. What purchases or what actions are we taking to help build our future for our children, for our family as a whole? I think that part is what's really missing. And I don't know what's really the best way to get that information out, not just into our own community, into our own families, but also into the community as a whole. One thing about us, we, us as people, we smart. We some smart individuals. We know we can go conquer and take over the world. But at what point do we say, let's go figure it out. Let's go do it. And just kind of last point that I want to make is, like, my mom's side of the family, we own like a lot of land in Georgia, but it's just sitting there. We're not doing anything with it. And it's like, I'm glad we own it, but what we gonna do with it? Let's not just go sell it because we want a quick dollar. That's another thing that we tend to do, is just go sell something if we do have something that we own. But letting it just sit out there ain't doing nothing for us. And I think a lot of Black people in the South tend to be that, oh, I own some land. Okay, what you doing with it? Owning it, paying property taxes ain't gonna help us. So we got to start thinking through, what can we do to be more innovative in really building our future out? Because we do have the resources and we have the brain power. We're just not doing it.
Yeah. Well, you made a lot of good points. A lot of good points. Like, it's okay that you
yes,
talk. It's okay. So, Miss Nadia, did you want to add to anything?
I didn't learn anything financially growing up. I'm gonna just put it out there. My mom had the mentality of, if you have the money, you buy what you want. And that's exactly the mentality that I had growing up, and that I had even in marriage too. So as an adult, that was my frame of mind. Look, if I have this coin, I'm going to purchase whatever I want to purchase. So what I've noticed about myself when it comes to my son, though, one thing that my mom always say to me, even to this day, she's like, Nadia, you have an entrepreneurial spirit and I don't have it. She's like, I don't know where you got that from. So I think one of the things that I put on my son is, you about to start you a business. So my son is in the 12th grade right now, and he's just now entering in. He started working on his business in the 11th grade. Cause I'm like, whatever you want to do, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to make this thing run, and we're going to push hard for it, So he started up his own little t-shirt line. And I have my nephew, he has my nephew help designing with him. My niece is the accountant. I'm the overseer, I'm CEO. Anything that needs to pass through me. You know what I'm saying? And I just look at how hard they're working. And I got that idea from a friend of mine whose son was in the 11th grade. By the time he got to the 12th grade, he already had a business that he was able to graduate high school with and take off to college with him and make his own money. So I'm really big with my son as far as being an entrepreneur. Don't wait on the white man to give you no check, because that's not going to secure your future. Me personally, I'm a hustler. And that's one of the things that I teach my son. I work a 9 to 5, but I have 2-3 other incomes that I pull in on the side to make everything work, to make us comfortable, to be able to do what we need to do. And that's something that I push to him as well. Don't just have one income. If you can have 3, 4,
multiple.
You know what I'm saying? Let's work on that. I think another thing that I do that my mom don't do or have not done that I do with my son, I make investments. Like I'm in the stock market. Like I bought stock, you know, and it's just like I go to him and I talk to him about stock, you know, to try to create some type of a wealth for us. It doesn't have to be, you know, a major stock, but put your bid in. So when he was about 5 years old, I bought into Apple, but it's in his name. And I let him know, you have Apple stock. So whatever Apple does, if Apple make an Apple phone 2026, you about to get paid. You know what I'm saying? Because we need that money to roll through. I also invested into prison stock. And I know that's, you know, folks saying, well, why would you invest in something that they're putting our community in? Because I know it's going to make money. And I know that for a long time, my son will have a setup for himself that he can actually pass down to generations and generations. So I believe that financial education is very important, because when I first hit college campus, one of the things that I didn't know is that all them credit cards that they were signing me up for was going to hurt me in the long run. And baby, let me tell you, when I got to Cal State Northridge, I got every last one of them. They said, you want a credit card? I said, I sure do. They said, you want? I said, I sure do. So I had like about 5 of them mugs sitting tight. I was like, yes, I'm popping in the streets. About 4 years later, I was like, oh my gosh, I did so much damage running to Target like at 3 o'clock in the morning, spending $300, you know? So it's like teaching him about things of that nature as well. Just because I'm offering it to you don't mean you have to take it. What I do with myself is I don't credit card spend. A lot of big companies say, get this credit card, get this credit card. If I'm going somewhere and I'm purchasing with my debit, which means what I have is what I'm spending. I'm not gonna spend any money that I don't have, you know? So it's basically the relationship. I noticed the relationship that I have with money now is completely different than what I had probably 3 years ago. I look at it as a relationship, as far as it's a tool that the source, which is God, has given me to take care of business. So one thing that I try to teach my son is that you're connected to the source. So as long as you're connected to the source, you're always going to have resources. If you want to be wealthy, you're going to speak those things in existence. You're going to move as the Lord tells you to do. And that's what you're going to do to change whatever environment that we've been in for thus long. So that's basically how I roll with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And you know what's great is Charles Schwab. They have where you can buy stock pieces in 5 increments. And when I saw that, I said, you know what, this must be a sign for me to start getting some stock. And that's what I even taught my mom. I gave her something new to learn. Oh, well, I didn't know you can do that. Yeah, you can do it in 5 pieces, and $5 pieces, and over time you're going to build up. And there's prominent companies in those. Not all companies are in the $5 pieces, but there are some prominent companies like Apple, I believe Walmart, Target, Pfizer. They're in the $5 pieces, and I've been. Every couple weeks, I'll buy me a couple little pieces for $10, $15. And I know in the long run, it's going to help me. And of course, I also put my daughter as my beneficiary on there so that she's able to have this for the future. And I thought that was awesome for Charles Schwab to do that, because not too many I've not seen any other investment companies offer that. Either you're going to pay the whole $100 for the share or you don't get it. But at least they're helping the person that's just starting out to be able to build up their portfolio over time, which I think is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I've also learned about an IRA for my son and my daughter. I've learned about that. I've learned that they can have a IRA account before they're even 6.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I just got my daughter one and I got my son one.
Yeah.
And that will build up over time as they get older.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't come from money per se, and I didn't come from, oh, you have to save. As Nadia and of course you and Monica said, I didn't. I just knew, okay, you have to save, but if you need to go and pay your bills are always first. But if you have extra money to squeeze to buy what you want, then go do that. That's not the way I'm raising my children now. I let them know, okay, your bills are always first, of course, but there's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5, but you need to have a business, your own business.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the great thing.
Ends in. It's make never know when your car might the next day, clunk out on you. Like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? Hey, you got some extra to be able to get you another car, or
right.
anything with your house going on. You never know what might be going on, but it's always start that savings with your children. Teach them, this is how you balance a checkbook. This is how.
Right. I wasn't taught that at first.
I wasn't either.
As I got older, I learned about bank accounts and savings and checkbooks and stuff like that. And once I started learning it, I was like, wow. But when I went to college, I'm definitely with Nadia with that. When I went to college, I had like 2 or 3 credit cards. And now looking at my credit, it's like, wow, I really did some wrong things.
Yeah.
But I cleared it up. And now I'm only down to 2 credit cards. And they're very low. They're very low. So that's the great thing about it. And I'm also showing my son about it too. And I have him down on my credit. So when my credit goes up, his credit goes up. So that's the great thing about learning about credit and breaking these generational curses, because we're teaching our children, and it doesn't even have to be our own children. We can teach our nieces, our nephews, our mothers, because the mothers in the older generation, they probably don't know about that. So we learning about it, we can teach them too.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, there are a bunch of credit cards now that are allowing you to add your children no matter what, or no matter how old they are. Now, some only will allow them when they're 15 or up, but they are, I think Capital One actually add them on no matter what age they are. And a few other ones will let you add them on as an authorized user. And that way it will go to credit. So I think that's a great tool right there for breaking first, that they're going to come out graduate high school and they're be established and they're good.
Yeah, because my son is in high school now. He's a 10th grader and he has a debit card. Actually, he has 2 debit cards. And he will come to me and tell me, oh, well, Mom, I want to take money out. Okay, I'll ask him, what are you going to use it for? And if he tells me a video game, nope, sorry, it's staying with me. You're not going to use it for that. You could use it for school stuff. You could use it for this. And I'm teaching him how to balance it, to know what you have. And just don't spend it because you're working and you're going to get more money. No, save that.
Miss Nadia, what you have something to say?
I think I'm falling off as a parent by the way you guys are talking about what you guys are teaching your child. Like, my son has a bank account, but he does not have a debit card. He does not have a debit card and he cannot touch it. My son did an acting gig probably when he was 11 years old. That money that they gave him, I made him put that entire check in the bank at 11 years old. That entire check has been in the bank. He will be 18 years old this year. That entire check has been in his account from 11 up until now, and he has not been able to touch it.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing.
You guys are teaching them how to budget, and I'm like, you ain't even about to get this coin, homeboy. Stay focused.
But you know what?
But that's a great thing not for them to touch it, because if it's there, then you're not gonna go and go, oh, I have this. No, that's just my point of view.
Yeah.
Yes, put it all in there, leave it in, and act like you don't have it, because you're only gonna focus on what you have. That's gonna be something to fall back on when you get older, or if they want to purchase their own house one day. That's what houses looking at, and that's what these companies are looking at. Do they have money in the bank? My son has a savings account, and he doesn't know about it.
Oh, he knows.
He does not know about it. I put money in there, and he does not know about it. Good. He has a large amount of money, so I'm definitely agreeing with you with that, Nadia. So keep doing what you're doing, but there's nothing wrong with teaching them how to budget too.
Go ahead, Shakira.
Yeah, just real quick. So Nadia, I think I'm kind of with you on that. I haven't necessarily taught my son like budgeting and things like that. What we did differently than like when I was growing up is he does have a savings account, and he gets like paid for his grades. So if he gets A's, he gets like, I think I put $10. B's, he get $5. C's, I think I put like maybe $2.50, and then anything else he don't get nothing. And I make sure he sees his savings account, so he knows what's in there, and he knows how it's accumulating money based on those type of things. I also add more money to it. You know, as I get paid, I'm adding, you know, funds into his account. What I've actually been trying to teach my son is more about, your mom has money. Your mom has a decent job. I can go buy you what you need, but I need you to learn how to take care of the stuff that you have. So what he does, which it kind of made me proud. And it was like, is he calling me broke? Wait a minute. So he had broke his charger, right, to his phone. And he's up in Tennessee with my sister. So he texts me, he sends me a picture. He says, Mom, my charger broke. And I was like, okay, tell your auntie to buy you another one. His response was, okay, I will. Can you send her some of my money from my account so I can go buy my own charger? And I was like, you know what? At least he recognized that he broke it. Right. Nobody else should have to go and pay it, you know, buy it for you, because it's your responsibility to take care of your stuff. So I think for me, that's kind of how I've been taking, like, teaching my son as far as the value of not just money, but also the things that he does have. Because I work hard for the stuff I'm able to buy you, but you got to take care of it. Just because I can afford it doesn't mean I need to go buy it. So I think there's different, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to try to teach your children financial literacy, or the value of, you know, whether it is material things or just the value of the dollar. I do think, however, one of the key things I'm hearing everybody say in some form or fashion is that we're not teaching our kids to be wasteful. Absolutely. We're teaching them to be better than maybe what we were at, you know, growing up, or what our parents were growing up. And I think that's probably the key to change. Teaching them something different that you didn't have as you were growing up. I lived pretty good. We were kind of I guess you can call like a suburban family maybe. But my mama didn't talk about credit. The only reason I knew about a checkbook is because in high school, we had our home economics, and we had an economics class. So we had home ec, and then we also had an economics class. And in there, they did teach you a little bit about, you know, writing checks and balancing your checkbooks. One thing I didn't realize, they don't teach that in school no more. Like those things are not there. So it puts even more kind of responsibility on us as parents to make sure our children have some of that foundation, because the schools aren't teaching anymore. They don't, for whatever, like they don't even have shop. That's a whole nother thing we could talk about, y'all. Like, I don't even understand what's going on in the school system no more as far as what they're teaching our children. But it should just make us as parents more aware of what we need to ensure our children know, so they can be functioning adults. You know, again, like all of us said, go pay your bills first. You know, the odd thing that my mom taught me, which it's not necessarily financial, but it was more like, you should always have all your personal items. So like deodorant, soap, laundry soap, those type of things. It's the oddest thing because I've been working since I was 14. So those are the things she said I had to go and, fend for myself. To this day, y'all, I'm almost a slick hoarder on deodorant, laundry soap, and body wash because it just got stuck in my mind. So my point is, as we started, right. So we teach our children those things early on. You'll be amazed at how the habit it forms,
right,
without you even knowing. So instead of me saving money, I got a bunch of Tide and Gain over here. So if y'all need something, come see me.
Right.
See that?
Right. I've been working. Right. I've been working since I was 14 too. So I definitely understand that. And my mom and grandmother, they definitely said, "Oh no, you need to have all your personal items. That's the first thing you need to buy." Yeah. And then you buy your undergarments and clothes and things of that sort. So yes, I agree with you with that.
Well, when I first got out of high school and I wanted to open up a bank account, because until before then it was connected with my parent. And so I went in, ready to like sign up for direct deposit, and I was told I couldn't get one because I had previously had one and it left a negative mark with that bank. And so I'm like, never knowing that I had that bank before, I'm like trying, kind of being combative towards them because I don't know what they're talking about. And so that was my first time learning about my credit report, where they pulled it and showed items that had been on my credit report well before I even turned 18. So it's like when I started my financial understanding of things, it was starting negatively, like from the bottom. Just like it was crazy. I had to dig myself out of a hole I had to prove, for several accounts over the course of some years that those were not my accounts and I never gave authorization for it. And I realized over the course of the years, God has really put people in my life to help that, because I never looked at it, but it was really a financial trauma or whatever. And I ended up meeting this lady. I don't know if y'all see me work with her. Her name is Anita, but she's a financial behaviorist. And it's so crazy how I got connected with her. And I'm thinking it's for business, but it was really for me on a personal level, because I ended up going through this course with her where you really have to dig deep and think about those things in a way that you never maybe would have thought about them, because I never thought about it on that level. But it did cause problems within my family naturally, as I became an adult and was like, wait a minute. So what really, because even when it first happened, I'm telling my parent, this is happening. What do you think I should do? And they're advising me without really telling me I'm the cause of that, and I'm not putting it together how could this happen? I'm just trying to get what I need to get to be okay for my account, to have my bank accounts, to have bills to go out of my account. I'm just young and trying to do things right. So over the course of more years, it dawned on me the betrayal of it all.
Yeah.
So it was just one day, I'm like, what is going on? I ended up just calling and being like, how did that happen? I'm like, and then it turned into blaming different people in the family, because supposedly my social security number, my credit was just up for whoever, so I was just like, wow, the betrayal of it all. And I ended up getting over it, because when you're younger, for whatever reason, it just don't stick on you. It just didn't stick on me to hold it that much against them. But over the course of years, when I really think about the impact they have, because it's I ended up getting good information always from outside sources,
Yeah.
always from people that maybe God just deposited in my life. And all of a sudden, they're teaching me something that I didn't even know I needed, because there was another lady that went to my church who ended up, she just was always good in finance. Like the lady that, when you're doing the giving part of the service, what an offering.
Yeah.
She the one that sit at the front and collected and counted and stuff like that. She was that
Mm-hmm.
lady.
Financial.
So I ended up like being really close friends with her son. And so just over time getting close with her. And there was a time where she would really manage my money. And I would just listen to like how she said she handled hers. And I would notice like it was very different than I ever saw money being handled, talked about, any of those things. Like, wow, so it is a way to not be scared every month,
Right.
like, and not to live in a panic and be like full of anxiety and stuff like that. Like, I really was living in high anxiety over my finances for a very long time, and I didn't even realize it. It was causing a great amount of stress, and it was very serious. Like I didn't even realize how serious it was, and I ended up starting to write about it. It's just so crazy how God walked me through that to give me healing in that area, to where I started homeschooling. And so when I would think about the math portion of my kids' uh, curriculum, whatever, and then I would be like, well, you know what? We really need to dig deep in this. Or we really need to look into this. And I started getting books written by Black people, by people that talk of coming from a position that I was in, and what steps they took. And I said, okay, this is the course for us.
Yeah.
We're going to go through this book. We're going to break this up, and we're going to do a session and talk about it. And that was really healing for me and my kids. It was really healing. And I was like, you know what? When I was listening to you all talk, I said, God gives us what we need. Like whatever you all were giving to your kids was what your kids needed. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm learning. I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna look into that young credit program that Monica was talking about. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, I gotta ask Nadia about this business. How that's going with her son, because I'm trying to do that as well with my older son. I'm in the first process, the stages of doing that. So I feel like I can learn a lot from each of you. I think I have, you know what I'm saying?
That's the idea though, right? Like
Right.
you should be able to really kind of learn from each other's experience, because we all are coming from different backgrounds, different parts of the country. Because that's another thing people don't take into account. Where you live also can dictate how you handle finances, right? I actually had a conversation with my mother, who is a counselor, and she counsels people on different things. But one of the things we started talking about was kind of generational wealth, not just so much in the Black community, but I told her, I was like, in our community, if you really think about it, there's all these different generations. People are living longer. So people are, what their beliefs are kind of carrying over into the newer generations, right? Where like my mom, like I told you guys, she was in the military. My stepdad was in the military. So we traveled a lot. We had, I guess it was kind of suburbia, right? But they taught us how to maintain, right? How to just have a comfortable living, situation or whatever. Whereas a lot of people nowadays are more into owning businesses, right? Being an entrepreneur. That's not anything that we ever talked about. Right. Like, not that it was a bad thing, because they just taught me what they knew. But it's like now, this day and age, it's like actually being a business owner is really where you want to be at. You really want to own your own. And that's just something we never, ever even considered. Like it was always get good grades, get a good job.
Right.
buy a home, settle,
Exactly.
retire. Like that was the financial plan. It wasn't anything like, hey, go figure out, do you want to be your own business owner? Do you want to own multiple properties, right? Like
Right.
none of that type of stuff was really considered. And I think you have to be aware of, again, where you're from, where you grew up, because then like my dad's side of the family, they grew up here in Florida in St. Pete. There's only like 2 of them that I can think of off the top of my head that even considered leaving the city, that even considered doing more than what they were surrounded by. And again, not so much that it's a bad thing. You know, I do believe in, you're a product of your environment. And that's why I do believe that we as adults now, we have to make a conscious decision that we're going to take our children out of an environment we don't want them in anymore, or, you know, just different things like that. Go ahead, Nadia, I see you.
I wanted to say it was a stigma in the Black community at one point several years ago where the only thing parents had to do was use their child's social security number.
Exactly.
Around like stank on poop, like for real. It was like all over the place, where I think that was the only resort that a lot of parents had, because they did not have financial education. They weren't able to do certain things that we're able to do now. You understand what I'm saying? Like back in the days, if a parent bought something from Zodi's or Fedco, or went to Kmart and had or tried to shop and they didn't pay a certain bill, it automatically messed up their little credit. So they could not do certain things that they might have wanted to do. So the best thing they figured, to get these lights or this gas on for the household, I have to use my child's name. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's one of the reasons why I never use my child's name, because of something that I've seen before. Like everybody go through hardship at some point in time. And if you have, this is just me, if I have my son's name attached to a credit card or something that I'm working with, and something happened, God forbid something to happen, but something always happens. We can't predict life. Or like pandemic, we didn't predict pandemic. And a lot of people that had these credit cards and stuff, and they might have had their child, if your child name was wrapped up in that and you failed default in your payment, that means your child is falling default as well. We cannot predict what the future holds for us. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one reason why I would never attach my son's name to a credit that I'm doing right now, because shit happens all day. You know what I'm saying? And I could be up today and down tomorrow. And I don't want him to be affected being in a situation that you were in, Candace, trying to figure out like what's going on. You know, I never used my name. So why is my name? Why does all the credit bureaus know my name? You know, one of those.
Exactly.
It was a different story though, because it's like if you're in that situation and you fall on hard times, if you're still in a healthy place with your relationship with money, you would do what you can, get that corrected, or you would communicate it with that child or whatever. You would try your best to try to work it out or something.
Right.
But to me, it's like when you have an unhealthy relationship, you have this avoidance factor with avoiding the hard conversations about money, because it produced it with me where I didn't know how to talk to people about it. I didn't know how to even communicate, like, why. I didn't know that there were other ways to be in my financial state. I thought that is the way it is. This is life. Let me just live, you know, the way it is, until people introduced it and was like, well, if you do this, and if you write down, sit down, work out what your bills is for that month, you know, this is how much you got coming in. It was like, oh, wow, you know, oh, okay, all I got to do is do this, and I'm living a little bit better. Of course, it still was kind of like, when it was time for me to talk with my kids about money, it was still a struggle because somebody was still showing me what to do. You know, it wasn't like me, I don't know, having this confidence to feel, I did not feel confident at all in like talking to them about money. Like I was more so like, I'm in charge of it. I'm going to make sure that we good. You don't need to worry. And then I learned how that was unhealthy, because it's like I got to invite them into it. I got to talk them through it. So now now math is finance. It's not even math anymore. It's just finance. It's us discussing it, being aware of where our finances are, planning. What do we want to do? How can we make the money to do that? Just keeping it in a healthy way, instead of the only time we talk about money is when we in a panic. I don't know how this is going to get paid. And, because that was brought into my relationships as well. When I would be in relationships, it's like, I don't want to discuss it until, I have some terrible stories, y'all. Oh my God.
And
Just
so do
horrible.
I.
I just,
Yeah.
Just
And
horrible.
so do I.
I think that as we have evolved, more things are becoming open to us. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like when my mom was younger, in her 20s or whatever, I didn't know of a banker. I've never heard her say that one of her friends was a banker. You understand what I'm saying? Now I can honestly say, oh, I got a couple of friends that's in the banking business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when she was doing it, I didn't hear that come out of her mouth.
Right.
So it's like the times have changed and doors has opened for us to become financially educated. Where back in the days, they were shutting stuff down. They were like, no, we want to keep, the masses want to keep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Holdovers where we did not have this education, where we get ourselves further in debt and continuously to rely on them. So as the times change, now we're parents and we're able to teach our children much better than what we learned. And I believe that's like the biggest thing that's going on now. We see the things and how it affects us. We want something different for the next generation. So we're instituting change today for the future tomorrow.
Yep.
And we have to
I
think
totally
too.
agree.
Yeah, in our grandparents' day, a lot of our grandparents are from the South, of course, because mine came from the South. Yes, she did. They migrated to Ohio later on, but they still had the same mentality that they had when they lived in the South. Because to them, anyone that's Caucasian is that whatever they tell you is going to be gospel. They're going to believe it all day long. And even with financial matters, their belief wasn't for a African American person to own a business. Yeah, home ownership was a dream, and they succeeded in that dream, but that was the limited that what they had. They weren't willing to go further like we are now in financial matters. We're willing to want to own properties, multiple properties, not just one. We want to own multiple ones. We want multiple streams of income. For them, just a 2-income household, that was great. That was lovely.
Right.
Nowadays, a lot of us are single mothers, but we still want multiple streams of income. We're not going to want to, wait to see we get a husband or not. We want our own thing.
Right.
And I think that's a good way of us breaking that generation curse, because for them, owning a home, 3-bedroom, one bath,
that's it.
A dream.
For
me, I want to own businesses. I want to own multiple properties. Should I have started in my 20s? Maybe I should have, but now that I'm in my 40s, I'm learning a lot more, because like I said, I wasn't taught how to do a savings. I wasn't taught how to balance a checkbook. Those things were not taught me. I thought just writing a check and it was fine. I didn't know about the money had to be in the account for it to clear. Those things weren't taught to me. Did I learn over time? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But I started working, I was a drive-through girl at the restaurant, at 14. I had to, I had to do what I had to do, because, we would go to the grocery store. My mom was like, well, I don't want, I can't afford no cranberry juice. I can't afford no peaches.
Right.
I went and got me a job and got my own cranberry juice and my own peaches, because I'm the same way I was then. I wanted a certain brand. I wanted a certain item, and I'm going to get it. Now I'm the same way. Yeah, I want a nice Michael Kors purse. I want a nice Brahmin. But I'm not going to go out and buy it first before paying my bills. I'm going to pay my bills first, and I'm going to save up for that purse. I'm going to stock it and find it on sale. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, was coupons a necessity for me? No. Nowadays, yes, it is. I'm clipping coupons online all day, every day. I'm looking for any kind of sale that I can. I don't care if the item goes on clearance. I'm going to get it. If I want to spend the $500 on a purse, no, I'm wait till it's $125 and I'll get it then.
Okay, I gotta learn that.
Yes, I do. I put my purses in the shopping bag and I keep them there. I'll keep stocking. I'll keep getting my emails, of sales that's going on, and And when the spirit tells me it's time, then it's time.
Spirit.
One particular time, last school year, I was getting my daughter her school clothes. She's now in women's clothes like I am. So, her stuff's going to cost the same thing mine's cost. So she wanted a few things from Fashion Nova. I said, well, let me see it first. Not everything from Fashion Nova is going to be age appropriate for her. At the time, she was 10. So I went and I said, okay, these shorts are cute. We'll go and get them. So I put them in a shopping bag. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to get them today. I'm going to wait. Something is telling me just to hold off. Now, don't pay full price. Just wait on it. I waited 3 days. I got my little email alert saying everything is 75 to 80% off if you put in this promo code. I said, look at God. Okay. I said, because for my balance went from $250, it went down to, I think it was like maybe $90 or something like that. I said, you know what? And I could took that extra money and I was able to buy her some pairs of shoes. I was able to take that to buy her a book bag, and school supplies is, nowadays, if you buy the cheap stuff in school supplies, you're gonna end up buying it the next week because it's gonna break. So I gotta buy. So you gotta pick and choose where you're gonna put things at. So that's mostly what I do. That's why I'm always telling people. They say, "Oh, where do you get your stuff? Where do you get your stuff?" And I know I've said this before on a previous conversation we've had. Yeah, I go to Torrid. I go to Lane Bryant. I go to Fashion Nova. I go to ASOS. I go there places. Oh my God, they're so expensive. Don't think of it that way. Do you want that $50 dress? I didn't pay $50. I can tell you that right now. I probably paid maybe $25, maybe less than that. But I'm gonna tell you like this. This dress here, I've had it for like 2 years, and it still looks great after how many washes? I don't know how many times I've washed it. Plenty of times. But it's better than buying that dress at Five Below. That's $10, and as soon as I put in the washing machine, I take it out. It's in pieces. So you have to learn where to invest your money into. It's not just about stocks, not just about bonds, not about savings, but you want stuff to be in the long haul. But you want to buy a pair of good Nikes. They're going to last a couple of years because you're not going to wear them all the time. You rather do that, or do you want to buy the little thing from Marshalls that costs $10, but then the rubber's coming off the next week, and then you're going to have to end up going back and buy another pair of shoes. It takes a mindset of just balancing your mind and getting to, okay, I'm gonna spend $200 on these shoes, but maybe I'll wait for a sale. I'll put them in my shopping bag and see where it's at, because I get my Nikes from Famous Footwear. I signed up for their rewards program. They, once as you're shopping and stuff, even with, Torrid, once you shop and get to a certain level, now I got where I get free shipping all the time. So that's what, $10 right there for the shipping costs that I can put towards something else because I'm buying something and it's free shipping. So this is all about, where you're placing your money at, where it's a strategic plan, where to put your money to, and how to be able to balance yourself. And people don't think it. Some people really don't think that way. They still don't.
Yeah. So Nadia, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Go ahead.
I think that one of the best things that we all are doing for our children is showing them, because learned behavior is very important, and you would not imagine how much it affects our children. They see us going hard in the paint. They're learning from us just by what we're doing. So all of the entrepreneurship, all of the business arrangements, all of those, the children are listening. The children are watching, and one of the prayers that I have is like, I hope my son pick up my hustling spirit because he sees me, and once the child sees, because we learn more by seeing than hearing.
Right.
A lot
exactly.
So I've already purchased my first home, and I'm already talking to my son, look, before you hit 12th grade, at the end of 12th grade, I'll be moving to that other house that I actually wanted to purchase before this home. So it's the things that we show them that they are picking up. So they see mom hustling with 5 or 6 jobs. They see Candace working on all this business stuff. They see Monica doing this. They see Shakira. They see Camille. All of our kids see this, and they're taking it up, like, because this is what mama did. And I want to you guys to keep up the good work, because that's what they're learning. That is exactly what they're learning, how to do more than just the average. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, that's a perfect note to end another great conversation. We can definitely have more. There's definitely more to say when it comes to how we can continue to break these generational curses. I think having these conversations is where it's at, because I've learned so much just in this simple conversation right here. So let's continue to do more of that. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming in for another Queen Connect Court conversation discussing finances. So yes, you do. Until next time, peace.
Bye.
Welcome to Style Your Curves. Visit us at www.styleyourcurves.com, where being curvy is made easy. Always remember, it's your curves, your style. Defy the standards.
SinStyle Fashions. SinStyle is a self-taught designer, stylist, creative director, fashion coordinator, and consultant. Growing up in the fashion industry, she developed a true passion and respect for the art while adding her own spin on things and going against the norm. Her work has been published in many magazines, and she has styled both men and women for all types of events. She finds comfort in the chaos of backstage fashion shows and peace in creating looks and helping you look amazing. Whether you need help with styling, building your fashion portfolio, or looking for a one-of-a-kind piece, SinStyle is your go-to. Have the audacity to be different. Get SinStyle.